as the very special overlay suggests, folks, it's a very unique, a blockbuster edition of Fleet Week. Firstly, the fact that all four are back together here. The three young lions all on the screen at once. It's been a while, right? It's like seeing the Horseman team up on Nitro. I'm going to let you guys decide who Benny is out of that equation. But nonetheless, it is also the 9th birthday of young Dukes of the Late Night Grin. Dukes, I'm going to start with you. Happy birthday, Chief. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, and it says a lot about you that you'd ask even on your birthday. That's very exciting. I do actually have a gift for you.
Oh, no.
Some of my friends have told me this is not that creative of a gift, and you may have seen it already. I'm not sure. But this is from me to you, Dukes.
Hey, Rob, Kevin Nash. Yeah, I'm upset too, man. Ron was one of my favorite guys to watch on TV also. Plus, he's a buddy of mine. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But if you can get rid of the monster, I guess nobody's safe, right? Or maybe that's the whole reason they got rid of him. I don't know. Anyway, just a pep talk, man. Just gotta... I'm rooting for Orton now. Orton's my new guy. So I guess that's all I can say. And if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. My grandfather used to say that. See ya, cracker. Peace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
thank you, Joe.
I bought that for you. I don't really know what he's talking about. I don't always said Rob either, but nonetheless, happy birthday, Duke. So there's a few people saying the same. Many in our chat. Frank resubscriber Prime with us now for 8 whole months said happy 16th birthday to old Dukes, formerly known as Young Dukes. Is that saying you're looking to kind of rebrand in that direction, Dukes?
No, because I'm still the youngest. Because even if I get a year older, everybody else still gets a year older that same year.
Oh my God! Quick maths.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that, Chief? Okay, if you say so. All right, and Big Franco cheered 95 bits and says, all the best, Dukes. There you go. A lot of love. Thank you, Franco. Thank you, Frank. Great stuff, as always. But Dukes is not alone. As I said, the four horsemen are back together this evening. The Tope Suicida. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Dukes kind of just blew my mind right there. I didn't realize the aging process. But, it's Dukes' special day. It's impossible not to have good vibes.
Yeah, I agree. It's his big day, some would say. It's his big day. It's a big one. It's a big day, And we are here to talk about professional wrestling on the day. Chris, you are with us. The folks saw you last night on the WrestleMania 9 Grin Along. I hope you've recovered accordingly. But how are you feeling, mate?
Feeling pretty good. That was a lot of fun. Manny's obviously, my first time watching that, but Manny's Hogan McMahon experience was definitely something to check out if you weren't with us live last night. But yes, happiest of birthdays for Young Dukes.
I did get a text yesterday morning from the great Oracle of Wrestling, familiar face around these parts, and he said, "Are you going to upload this Grin Along to YouTube?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Look, I can't join, but I've got to see this Manny watching WrestleMania business. I've got to see it." And I messaged him. I said, "Brother, it delivers. Lock in. You're in for a ride." Just violently swinging from like vague disinterest to stand on his feet from one match to the next. Just an incredible performance.
Going as far as to say maybe Vince does know ball.
Yes, that was and he's kind of reiterated that a couple of times too, which was even more interesting. But yes, much going on here at the Late Night Grin. After this program, Fed Dead Redemption will be here for a WrestleMania preview with a different quartet leading that one. But nonetheless, we have some AEW talk to get into here, and it was an eventful week, as always. It seems to be in the land of All Elite, but this week, particularly, I thought was a really positive one on the Dynamite side. I'll be intrigued to see how many of our squad here watched Rampage. Very intrigued, actually, but we'll see. We'll let it play out. Nonetheless, let's start with Dynamite. Let's start at the top. The main event. Vikingo's AEW in-ring debut opposite Kenny Omega. This was billed as a dream match, and I think most people that were even vaguely aware of Vikingo would co-sign that term. I think after seeing it, even if you wasn't aware before, you now understanding of why it got that moniker beforehand. Dukes, we will start with you, seeing as it is your birthday. What did you make of Kenny and Vikingo?
This fucking ruled. This is like of the highest order of vibes matches.
Yeah,
it doesn't get better.
Yep, absolutely. Where, like, genuinely gut feeling. where is this? If you were making a physical media collection tomorrow for our friend Control and Alex, the greatest Dynamite matches, gut feeling, Dukes. How high does this one come in? Just on vibes, just gut feeling.
This feels like the opener to the second disc.
That's a really great answer. Specific answer. That's really, you delivered on that. That's good stuff. Chris, what did you make of Vikingo and Kenny?
I thought it was awesome. Again, we talked about how, like, for the most part, I think Duke said the same thing, but like I'd only seen really like clips of Vikingo up until this point. And like when they announced the match, I kind of didn't want to go back and watch anything to prepare myself for it. I kind of just wanted to be like to see for the first time with everybody else. And it was awesome. Like, just obviously the athleticism, like it's stuff that you don't see. I was going to say often, but really at all, some of the things that he can do. So yeah, that was great. A lot of times I found myself just being like, dude, we are like, him and I are like made of the same thing, but he can do that. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Right. It's incredible stuff.
Yeah. Tape had a great tweet about it. Like, the term generational is thrown around a lot, but he genuinely is a wrestler of which you only see one of. Like every generation will get one guy who just kind of breaks all the rules physically of what you can do. Incredibly innovative too. So yeah, he's something else. Tope, firstly, were you familiar with Vikingo? You're in a similar boat to the lads here, and what did you make of the match, right?
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Just a couple gifts, no full length match. I mean, as you guys said, one of the top 5 matches in AEW history, right there. That was just nonstop, just fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and Kenny is part of the story here. That's not, it's worth noting that. I mean, he's incredible in this match and always is incredible. We're going to get into later. He's got another singles match coming up on Wednesday, so it appears we are trending towards, best bout machine Kenneth Omega being back in our lives as a singles wrestler, which is very, very exciting. Just kind of quick question here on that front: does Kenny Omega challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight Title in 2022? What are we thinking, boys? I'm intrigued where the reads are at on this. What we got? What do you reckon?
Yes. All out.
Confident, yes. All out, you're saying?
I think so. I think it should be.
Is that because I'm in attendance? Feels like.
Yes. Because Bob's in attendance.
Well, maybe. He's claimed he may just meet us and not even watch the show, which I respect on so many levels.
That would fucking rule.
Yeah, he just said, like, I'll come hang out, but I ain't going to the wrestling show. Fair, I guess. Chris, Tope, what are you thinking? Is Kenny going to fight for the world's title again before the year's out? What do you reckon?
It's interesting because I don't know. Like, I kind of want him to be in the elite stuff for a little bit, but also like just that's me selfishly. I understand that Kenny Omega right now looks like he's in like you said, best bout machine form, and I don't want to waste that. So I really want to see this like. More singles matches. I hope so. I think full gear to me seems more likely, depending on, other stuff that we don't know yet.
Indeed.
Returns.
Yes, there's lots of other stuff we don't know yet in AEW right now, unfortunately. Tope, what are you thinking on the Kenneth front?
I'm going to go no. I really want him to, because I think him, MJF would be a pretty big match. Like, that could definitely main event pay-per-view, but I think they're probably just going to hold that. I don't think he's going to get another title match all year.
I'm glad you brought that part of it up, because like the obvious part of the picture of Kenny is just how great of a wrestler he is, right? And unquestionably he is. He's maybe the best wrestler in the world as of right now, and has been for whenever he's been active over the last almost decade now. I think he's been in that conversation, but it is always worth noting like how big of a star he is too. We're not ratings guys, but like. That was pretty interesting the way that match popped on Wednesday. That was pretty telling. And obviously previously, his time as world champion was very, very strong commercially for the company, even before certain guys came in. So it is interesting. When you look at the biggest matches for MJF, this feels like maybe it in a lot of ways. It's a slightly strange matchup. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it and you shouldn't explore it. So personally, I actually think, and I'm not just doing this to be biased or whatever, but like I actually do think All Out is a very interesting kind of place to circle for that. That's an interesting one. I think that's a fair argument. That's your biggest event of the year. Kenny and Max on top there. I think maybe, just maybe, but there are other things to tackle first before we get there in a range of ways, which we'll see what comes up in that regard. as the year develops. Vikingo, he's wrestling Friday on Super Card of Honor. Feels like he's gonna be back in AEW itself before long, though, doesn't it, boys? I mean, that was not the kind of performance that's gonna stay as a one-off for long in AEW. I think it's fair to say. Just quick thing, ideal opponent for Vikingo in AEW. Dukes, I'll start with you.
Ray Phoenix. Oh no, I saw that already. They did that in AAA. Claudio.
That's disgusting. That's incredible. That's incredible. Chris, who you got? What are you thinking?
I think I'd go either Roosh or Danielson.
Yeah, Danielson was the way I was leaning. Also, Tope. Anyone come to mind?
Give me Take.
My God, that would be insane. Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's proceed here.
Jeff Jarrett.
imagine Jeff like trying to base for Vikingo.
Yeah.
Just being
oh my God, Darby. Darby's got to go on Darby. Darby's actually the right answer. Darby.
This would be outrageous, yeah. And they're completely different kinds of flyers too, because Darby's like, he's not that he's not graceful, but he's more like violent in the way he lands. That'd be interesting for sure. From one all-time great to another, Stang is back in town. He has got a different attire now, which is very funny, which we'll get into later on. The famed vibrator that got a lot of hype last night on the WrestleMania Grin Along. Tope, what did you make of Sting's return match and this trios with Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade?
Okay, so I don't know how to approach this because it was very, very fun, but the Boxman was in this match. So to keep appearances, I don't think I can give it the full praise that I normally would.
Now, just be clear, is that just to keep appearances, or was there sincere resentment for him being in this match? Is it both?
What? Oh, no, it's yes, it's both.
Dismissive no, followed by yes. Fair, okay. Chris, your thoughts on both Tope's stance and the match itself?
Folks, the big man is back, and I'm not talking about Sting.
Oh, God.
Oh, my.
No.
I'm talking about the Boxman.
Oh,
give the man his flowers. Give the man his flowers.
Get a fucking job.
Give him his flowers.
I feel like on Duke's birthday, this is a dangerous way to go. But carry on.
In all honesty, it was really good. I thought and whatever the action was great. Obviously, it was great seeing Sting. It was cool seeing that trio together. But also, I think Taz had a great call of Darby tagging Orange in, and he said instead of a hot tag, he said it was a lukewarm tag. He stole the show for me, honestly. Props to all the guys involved, but Taz really won me over with that one. Vibes opener.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I will say the Kip comedy spot where Sting came up from behind and kicked the back of it. That was that was really fun. Dukes, where do you stand on this Boxman debate?
This match ruled. This is like exactly what Kip should be. Just like a guy that bumps for Sting.
That's it.
I would like to add, I've always been of that stance. I never said push.
Well, you just used the big man is back to describe
because I feel like he's disrespected. I feel like this is his role. He excelled in this role.
To be fair, I did use the big man is back for Stevie Richards last night, so I can't really. That one's that I feel I've kind of killed that term, so I understand. I get it. I thought it was really, really fun. I mean, it's always great to see Sting and Butcher and the Blade being on TV is a pop in its own way, and I think Kip's fine enough. I haven't really got a problem with it. Interesting note here, post-match, Darby Allin looked up at the Double or Nothing banner. They kind of dwelled on that for a moment there.
He didn't point. He didn't point.
He just stared at it for a long time. So. I think he was trying to figure out the date, but nonetheless, this would make one, presume. Maybe we were wrong last week. Maybe this is indeed the pay-per-view match. They got 2 months. So I'm kind of intrigued how they would build that, considering they did a 20-minute in-ring last week. Max wasn't really on this week. He had a pre-tape from post that segment. So I guess, update on that front. Tope, what are you thinking? Is this the actual Double or Nothing main event after all, the big fatal 4-way?
I think it is. However, I fantasy booked to Dukes that basically they have the four-way on a special before the pay-per-view, and then Max cheats to win that. Then they have like either a three-way or a gauntlet, however you want to work it, little tournament, 3-guy tournament, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Winner of that gets the one-on-one at the pay-per-view. That's Derby.
That works. I do like kind of adding some, extending this role that's been a one-match deal as the multi-man. I'm intrigued by that. Dukes, if this was fantasy booked to you, what was your response? Did you call it whole shit or did you co-sign?
Well, I don't really understand the 3-man tournament part.
Kind of round robin, I guess you could do, right?
I think they haven't announced it because I don't think they know yet if it's the main event. Because I think there is still somebody that Tony is potentially waiting on.
Well, I think that guy might be waiting on Tony, so that could go many which ways. Let's see how that develops. Interesting, Chris. Where do you stand on this business?
I'm scared mostly scared. It's a long time until that pay-per-view. It's about 2 months from now, and that's a lot of TV. That's like 8 TVs. So kind of scary. My first thought was like, I had to text them and be like, did they just imply that this is going to be at the pay-per-view? Because I just think it's a really long time, and also I'd rather, like, I love I love most of the guys involved in this.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be great. I just don't and I wouldn't say it's like wasting a pay-per-view main event, but I'd really like Max to have like a one-on-one proper feud.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think the match is going to be terrific, but it's just it doesn't have much punch for me as a pay-per-view main event. It's just I don't think there's like they'll get me to bite on some false finishes and stuff in the heat of the action, but like I don't buy for a second he's losing this belt in a fatal four. Like you need it. I don't know. I don't think you can get too much big fight feel like that. Also, in terms of, I'm going to break some news here, folks, in terms of how long 2 months is in the land of AEW. 2 months ago, Bryan Danielson hadn't wrestled Timothy Thatcher or Roosh yet. To give you some idea of how much happens in AEW, like cycle-wise. So, we are 2 months away from Double or Nothing, and they've already done the big setup segment. So, we shall see. I do think Tope, while 3-man tournament may not have been the most, neat way of phrasing it, I do think he may be onto something in terms of them doing some kind of setup deal with those 3 guys. I think that's not impossible by any means. Almost like a spin on the usual MJF thing of wrestle these guys I pick. They just wrestle among each other to get to the big man, so to speak. So there's that. Anyway, let's get this move here to Adam Cole's big promo segment. He was interrupted by Daniel Garcia. This is one of the highlights of Dynamite, I thought. This was a really, really strong segment. Garcia really delivered in this spot, and they set up their big-time match for next week. Lots to like here. Dukes, what did you make of Garcia and Cole's promo deal here?
I thought Garcia was great here.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Adam Cole, he said the NXT line. He's like, they ring the damn bell or whatever. Pop me.
Is that law, do you think? Is that considered law? Yeah. Good law, though.
Yeah, big time.
It works with and without context, which is important when it comes to law. Tope, law. What did you think of this segment?
Got him.
I thought it ruled. I mean, Danny Garcia he's a monster.
Really,
that guy's putting up numbers every week. Did you see his fit?
That was incredible.
Absolutely
incredible.
And Adam Cole is like not my favorite guy. I still like him, but he is incredibly over, especially since coming back. So it'll be a lot of fun.
He's good on the mic too. He's always been good on the mic. Always been a good talker. And I do agree with the assessment that Cole feels like a guy who's going to wrestle Max on pay-per-view at some point or another. Chris, what did you make of this? Garcia being the opponent for Cole and the way it was set up? And you are muted.
He turned his camera off instead.
I thought it was great. I thought that's like a once a show thing that happens at this point. Yes. It's great. I think Garcia really he oozes charisma at this point. Like the strut to the ring, the outfit was great. And what was he's got the crowd hooked. Like when we eventually get the payoff to that like pro wrestler thing, we're cooking. Absolutely. Also Cole, he really has the audience hooked when he talks. He's a great talker. Personally, I like him. I understand why people don't as much, but I'm really excited for him to get back in the ring.
I'm excited for this one. I really am. For Cole with me, it's like depending on the opponent who would decide. I mean, happy to see him back. Obviously, I'm glad that he's healthy, but if it was someone I wasn't interested in, it'd be like, that's cool. I'm glad for the folks that are into him, but it's whatever for me. This match has got some real juice, I think. It's fresh, exciting. A young guy, a fresh guy, very, very fun stuff. So I like this a lot. Love the setup. Garcia did great here. Nothing but praise for this live segment. Really, really good stuff. And that's something that AEW are not prolific in terms of like those live promos. I think they're very hit or miss. So this was a hit, unquestionably. Speaking of hits, Hook up against Stokely Hathaway. May have been Stokely's finest moment yet in AEW. I think this was quite the performance. The receipt, the immediate retirement, him legitimately sprinting through the crowd at a pace where he almost genuinely escaped. So much to like here, Tope. I hear you're a very big proponent, so I'll throw it to you. What did you think of Hook and Stokely here?
I actually prepared some notes for this match. Yeah, I got a lot of dog barking. Throw it to Chris. He has my notes.
I can read them if you would like.
There you go.
There you go. So there's a few, but they introduced Stoke as he's not as large as the men he represents, but he has the heart of a lion and the wisdom of an owl. He's also in full Nation of Domination gear. That was one. Next. His bottom ticker said self-proclaimed submission specialist. Next. He looks back terrified twice as he's walking down the ramp and then immediately turns and starts mean-mugging fans. He then Ken Shamrock style punches his head and screams. Stoke hugs Bryce as Hook enters the ring. I think he tried to slip him a 20. He wrote, Dr. Simpson's note is a Wingstop receipt that says he's sick. He's just describing events. Stoke runs out of the ring and seems to forget Hook can chase him over the barricade. Stoke throws a fucking Claudio-style flying uppercut that Hook no-sells. Hook gets the guardrail out. It cuts backstage to the firm. He's literally just describing what happened. Stoke does the funniest hit the chair on the stairs spot of all time. Goes up to the camera and says, quote, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. That's Tupac. Hook then does the funniest fucking chair shots of all time. Hook makes it all the way back before Stoke moves an inch in the ring. He's dead. Rest in peace.
True.
Tope doing his best 411 Mania review there. And look at these. Incredible.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what I should ask, but Tope, do you have anything to add to that? Like, that was your exact notes, but is there anything you'd like to, any kind of editorial you'd like to put on top of that, or is that fine?
I have watched this match back 4 times since Wednesday. I have done that for 2 other matches before. Eddie versus Punk and Anarchy in the Arena. So there. Oh my.
It sounded like he was getting attacked. It's like swollen. It wasn't just you heard the dog, you heard him. Oh. That's what you get, folks. That you see you begin to work bits like that on a program as serious as Fleet Week. Things fall apart very quickly. Very unfortunate.
He deserves it.
It all started with the notes.
It did indeed.
You see what happens? You see what happens when you try on this show?
Well, with that in mind, Dukes, what did you think of this?
It fucking ruled.
Yeah. What a hoot, man. What
That's
a hoot.
take.
What do we think? So Hook's going to wrestle Ethan next. Chris, what's your guess on what he does beyond that? Any because this is one of the more interesting stories of the year for me in terms of like how you map out a Hook push, how you continue to protect him. Chris, any kind of sense of where you think they may go with Hook?
So I personally think obviously that yes, it is really tough to kind of like predict with him because obviously like we're not in Tony's head even though he's in our Discord.
True.
We don't really know like it seems he really wants to protect Hook, and again with a character like him it's hard to like with the whole losses situation. But I do think that there's a great story to tell with Hook and Hobbs at some point. I don't know if that's what's next, like immediately, but I do think that that's something worth visiting at some point. So if that's the next step, I would not complain whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree completely. I'm going to just put this on the screen for no reason in particular. All right, Ethan Page and Hook obviously had a match on the House Rules show that Matty was at, so they had a chance to run that. I think they went about 10 minutes apparently, so that's pretty cool. Good stuff. All right, let's move to one that was a little bit more divisive, a little more polarizing. The Guns and Top Flight. I actually quite like this match. Genuinely, I thought they actually had a nice tag title match. Tope, assuming that you are now safe. Hold up. Assuming that you're now safe. Sorry, I just read what you put in the chat. What did you think of the tag title match?
It was fun for what it was. I mean, like going in, I didn't have the highest expectations, and I wasn't let down. So I was happy with it. I'm not going to say it was like an incredible match, but it was fun.
Well, Dukes, did it make your spreadsheet?
No, unfortunately, it did not.
No, just missed out slightly.
Yeah. The Guns have they have one coming up that'll make the spreadsheet, but
I hope so. With that in mind, Chris, first, what did you think of the match, and then the FTR setup that followed, mate? Go ahead.
So I think like while the Guns aren't crazy impressive in ring right now, the heat that they have in the building definitely adds a layer of of intrigue to their matches. And I thought it was fine. Like I thought all guys involved, did the best with what they were given or with the opportunity. And it was good. I think it was a good showcase for Top Flight. I think obviously I'm really interested in what they're doing with the Kingdom because I love Mike Bennett. And obviously Top Flight and Taven too, but Mike Bennett. So yeah, I thought it was great. And then FTR, like loudest pop of the night. That was awesome. Obviously went the direction that we had been speaking about for a while of the AEW career, whatever it is, versus titles. And think whatever you want about it, but I'm excited. I think there's some money to be made here.
Do we have a date for that match yet, or is it just like okay?
I don't think so.
It's very, very interesting. Many layers. I'm intrigued. Tope, what do you think of this FTR business, Chief?
What if they lose?
Oh my God! Wait, Chris,
they'll leave AEW.
we might get that match.
You're so right. You're so well. You might get that match regardless. You got
listen. I have two chances to see that match. It's gonna be the week in between, but
now they're saving Phil for our show. Remember,
that's true. No, Phil's coming back on Long Island, brother.
Whole lot of optimism in the room right here, folks. Whole lot of optimism, but it's Duke's birthday, so I'm gonna let him roll. Yes, that's what will happen, Tope. If they lose, they'll leave AEW. That was kind of the idea of the stipulation, mate.
Oh, well, that'll suck.
I agree. It would be pretty bad, yeah. This is I'm not. They'll get me in the middle of the match because that's what good wrestlers do. But I personally am pretty bullish on this. Has always been the plan. I've been very clear about this on the air. However, there is definitely a widespread belief that this may actually be it, which is going to create for some real drama here on both sides of the fence. Whether you want them to lose or win, there's going to be some moments of excitement here. Fair to say, Dukes, that this, you're ready to put this one on the spreadsheet already, right? You've already got it locked in, penciled in. Just waiting for the date.
I just don't have the date. Yeah.
So you do put the date on the spreadsheet. I'm glad to hear that. Because when you said about the vibes thing, I was wondering if you was taking it seriously.
I don't actually. I still haven't done that, but.
All right, interesting.
I'm lazy.
Okay, Tope Suicida. Sky Blue was on this show. She wrestled Tony Storm. Did you like this, mate? Was this your kind of professional wrestling? Was this real graps in the mind of Tope Suicida?
This was a setup question. I was attacked in the Discord as soon as I entered. For a wrestler, I am a fan of performance. I didn't think it was that bad. Good vibes. That's all. No other comments on the work rate of that couple minutes. One
question. When you said you were attacked?
Yes.
Was the attacker, are they currently on screen in some form or fashion, one of the two gentlemen alongside it, or was it other parties?
I can't. There were a lot of voices, a lot of attacks, a lot of insults being thrown. I can't confirm nor deny Dukes was one of them.
Well,
he was in the voice chat.
I definitely threw an insult,
and he often insults me. So.
Okay. With that in mind, Dukes, would you like to comment on that here, or are you simply passing on that?
Yeah, I'd probably just called him a dumbass or something. I don't know. I don't think it was about the match.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. It's very wholesome. This feud, they seem to do the same segment every week.
It does seem like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but Sky's in it.
It's a little weird.
It just feels like I watched this before. I'm definitely seen this before. I haven't.
It's the same thing.
And even like this next week match, I like a lot the matchup, Ruby and Willow. I just hope that when it ends, it is not the exact same thing, right? Like Chris, we've talked about this a lot on this show, but it's hard to be too interested because it's so surface level right now, right? It's a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of Sky, I'd like to think this is just a tough night at the office, but yeah, I mean, it's so repetitive at this point. I thought adding Ruby was gonna be like the spark it kind of needed, and to an extent it has. Like it's made me more interested for sure, but the extent of that, I'm not sure where that's at right now.
Yeah, it's a shame. Ruby's actual work in this has been good, but the presentation is so bland. It's like you lose interest almost immediately. I want to get another shout out to Franco. He had another 95 bits. Thank you very much, pal. We appreciate you. Keep grinning. All right. One last thing before we get to the vibrator. Moxley and Stu, more specifically, heel Blackpool Combat Club. How are we feeling about this new version of the BCC? Dukes, I'll start with you, mate.
So beast. I fucking love this, man. They're just killers. Mm-hmm. And Yuta being the one that kind of like pushes Mox a little bit. Like, come on, kill him. Punch him in the fucking face again. Good stuff.
It is really fun. Chris, you on board also with this version of Blackpool Combat Club?
Absolutely. Like, there's no guide. There's no there's no right now. There's no Danielson or like Regal to kind of steer them in a certain direction. They're just going out there and doing business basically, and being aggressive and being very physical. And then like. If you watch this show, like you know that's the type of stuff that we enjoy the most, really, right. Is that type of stuff. So I'm really excited about where they're at as a group, and like the stuff that's very increasingly more obviously coming up.
Last week it was just Dukes and I, and he was suggesting that there were some controversial opinions regarding the Stu Grayson. I seem to remember he pointed the finger at you on that, Chris. Was Tope guilty also?
Yeah,
he was.
Yes, and okay. to add to that, Tope and I said it in like not at the same time, and I didn't know that he had the same opinion that I did. Wow. I will say I did not bash Stu Grayson.
You did.
I did not bash him.
Yeah,
I just said that I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent towards a lot of wrestlers.
No, do you want me to read it?
Read it.
Hold on, folks.
Hold up.
No. I know the one he's gonna read. I know what he's gonna read. It's
this.
Be careful to read it.
Bad light.
Let's be careful.
Well, I mean, they're your words, so
let's be careful reading DMs, folks.
Okay.
I'm here on Fleet Week. Let's take it easy.
I can say okay.
It may be your birthday, but let's take it easy. It's not doing anything we're gonna regret. All right, let's take it easy. Look at the power Douglas currently feels. As he literally
Are you gonna do the one with the match graphic or no?
Probably. I'm still going up.
It's very interesting. Okay, while this happens, Tope, would you like to comment on this at all? Because you've been kind of dragged into this, unfortunately.
Oh, I mean, like I didn't really care when he was coming back.
That was my thing.
Like that's whatever. He's a fun wrestler.
I got it.
Whatever.
Oh no! Here we go.
Chris Alvarez, March 16th, 10:06 p.m. Do we have to pretend to like Stu Grayson now?
Hey, he's kind of cooking though. We're being real.
I told him to go fuck himself.
That's when they posted the All Elite graphic.
It is.
Yeah.
He's a good wrestler, in all seriousness. It was the one thing I'll say to Chris, in Chris's defense, it was funny that when he left, a lot of the rhetoric was, well, they won't miss him. And then when he came back, it was like, here we go. But he's a good wrestler. I don't think this performance was like his finest by any means. I thought it was actually a little bit of a clunky match, ironically, at the end of all this conversation. But he's a good wrestler beyond anything else. We will leave it at that. All right, folks, it's vibrator time. I know this is going to upset the boys, but it's a big week. It's WrestleMania week, so this week's vibrator is sponsored by Fed Dead Redemption. There's just one problem. For some reason, I only added hour 2. So just wait a minute. Duke's filled it there.
Chris hates Stu Grayson. He doesn't really like any of the Dark Order. It's real weird. It feels personal.
Here we go. Beautiful. Like it never happened. Lovely stuff. All right. Here we go. We look at the imagery ahead of us here, folks. Okay. Ambulance Law kicks us off at above good vibes. You see a nice graphic there to go with it. I can't read that tweet as I have bad eyes, but there is a tweet about Sting. Is this the one about he's ready to get pushed? Tope, is
yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Sting out here with the bomber jacket. He's ready for the push.
Beautiful. The new best friends. Is this? What is this? Like orange with Sting and Darby? Is that what you're talking about?
I think.
Yeah, that's the match. Sting in the bomber jacket is just Sting in the bomber jacket is just Sting in the bomber jacket.
Okay.
The next one is the match.
It's worth noting Sting did take us up to impeccable vibes. Only a slight drop off from there. So wait, who is that? Who is that in the midst of who's above Cash Wheeler's head? What's happening there?
Dante Martin.
Oh my God, man. I need to get my glasses for these things. This is getting outrageous. Anyway, we drop between Pops and Good Vibes. Arse Boys versus Martin Boys for Tag Bomb. We have a sort of Wrestle Purist-esque thumbnail with the FTR.
Glad you got that.
Which shoots up to Good Vibes for the FTR they gonna retire. we then is that Hail Mary there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We then climb above impeccable vibes for quote the greatest match of all time, of course referencing Hook and Stoke. And then we
oh my God, he left it there. He left the
Yeah, I know. We asked him to lower it. He didn't.
Yeah, he's an interesting fella.
Which one?
Shut up.
Shoot baby in ring.
That's a problematic sentence.
There's a lot going on there. What's happening there?
Look at Danny Garcia.
I think he's referencing Robert O'Neill's Adam Cole bit.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, we're going to just let this sit here for a minute because there's so much going on the screen. There is also, it looks like a Nitro. Yes, there is. There's a Nitro.
It's called AEW Nitro, actually, at the top.
AEW Nitro. Again, just going to let this breathe for a moment. Take this in. There's a lot going on. We're about to move to hour 2. If you need to take a break, feel free to pause the video and come back. You know, it'll be okay. Here we go. We start the hour. We start the hour at Good Vibes with BCC Armin, which is this the post match attack on Stu or is this the match itself? Whole thing. Okay. With a wanted dead or alive for Blackpool Combat Club. We have a pretty blunt QTV fucking sucks as the show drops to shits. All right, let's just park it there. This needs to end, right, boys? Like, seriously,
this is bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wanted to give it a shot, but it's
yeah, it's like so criminally online. You know, it's like, come on, man. There's like nearly 1 million people watch this show. Don't worry about it. You know, it's this whole shit. But like, I saw he had look. We all like QT, but I saw he was referencing the dude who always has the bad tweets. And he had like, the cheese board, and I was like, oh my God. I was like,
he could have at least just like actually said the joke.
Yeah.
About the cheese board. Like, I got this cheese board from up north or something like that. I don't know.
I would just recommend it. Honestly, do this on Dark if you really want to do it. You know, if you really want to like
Rampage, no one watches that.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very, very bad. I actually think it's some of the worst stuff they've done on Dynamite. I'm not doing a bit when I say that. I think it's like embarrassing. But and again, I like QT, so I haven't got anything against him. But like the wink nature of it is like my least favorite type of wrestling, you know. But nonetheless, thankfully, we do climb back up quite considerably, questionably so, in truth, to Good Vibes. Just how far does the conspiracy go? And we have a picture of Manny's favorite podcaster here.
True.
In Sky Blue business.
Second to himself.
What is this in reference to? Like, what was the finish? Was this a controversial finish? Again, I'm now forgetting what the finish of the match was.
As you said, the matches are very cookie cutter, like the same. They did the same spot where Sky had like a 5 count, and then they did the interference.
Yeah,
they did.
Fair. We then exceed impeccable vibes once more for what the fuck. Good. So just in case you're wondering if that was a bad thing, it was not. For the Vikingo match, that image is terrifying. I will concede, the one that you've isolated there. And that is to about fine margins, right? That's insane. And then we close with Law Good. Again, I'm sure everyone was confused. You'd think that the vibe element would kind of explain whether it was good or bad, but Tope got too specific in this case. And that is, of course, referencing the big closing deal, which I did want to talk about as we just leave this up here and let people enjoy it for a moment. Where do you guys stand on the Don Callis business? I mean, it's rated very prominently, but there was a lot of debate about it. What do you guys think of that whole deal?
Real graphs.
Yeah, I tend to agree, honestly.
I really hope that they do a thing where Kenny kind of turns on him because he watched the show.
That'd be cool, yeah.
It's also kind of beast if Kenny just doesn't watch the show.
Yeah, he's never referenced it. Yeah. That piece of shit him with the board, with the nails and all that deal. Yeah, it'd be.
I thought it was a gun.
That's where
I
I'm
got out of the ambulance.
What do we actually think is happening here? Because they kept making it clear that, like, we assume the Blackpool Combat Club attacked the Young Bucks, and Don Callis is very suspicious. I think there may be a swerve ahead here, folks. I really do. Where do you boys stand on that front?
I think that Callis probably has, I don't know, my what I would think in this situation is that Callis has somebody else that he's gonna bring in. Who that is, I don't know, but I mean I have some guesses. But yeah, that's what I would think, because I do think that they're gonna have Kenny know what's up because he watched the show, and then Callis bring in a new guy at some point.
Yep.
But yeah,
it's worth noting too. I mean, he's not a natural heel, obviously, but Takeshita does feel relevant in all this, right? That's happening alongside this story, which is worth keeping an eye on. But nonetheless, folks, there is the AEW Nitro vibrator, sponsored by Fed Dead Redemption. I must bring back the birthday overlay here, otherwise people may forget it's your birthday, Dukes,
True.
That feels like an important thing to do. Here it is. There we go. All right. Let's do a little Rampage talk if possible. Has anyone watched Rampage?
I watched the second half because I forgot it was on.
My God, Chris, you actually watched the whole show?
I watched it when it wasn't in its time slot, yeah.
So wait, we finished the Mania thing and you immediately turned to the Rampage? That's impressive, man. It's real graps right there. Tope, what about you?
I watched half of the Hager Brody King match, and the rest was on, but I wasn't really watching.
I finished the WrestleMania deal and was uploading it to YouTube, which took hours, and I was just kind of watching boxing, and then Matt texts me oh my God, they're recapping Dynamite on Rampage. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? What's his problem? What is he? And then I realized it was on a Saturday night, which I do not think they my guess was, and maybe the rating will prove me wrong, but it didn't feel like they quite nailed that point home the way they could have. But nonetheless, we will talk about best we can. So, Chris, you're the only who saw Hobbs and Penta, right?
Yeah.
Was it good?
I liked it. I think there were a few points where Hobbs was a little sloppy, but I think it really took Penta and Phoenix to turn me around on Hobbs. I think I'm back. With him. So we'll see. It was enjoyable. And yeah, I mean, Hobbs having a good match, that's fun to watch. I want to root for Hobbs. I like Hobbs. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try and check this one out at some point. The rest of the card I'm not desperate to see, but I did want to catch this one. Okay. We have the main event. So, Dukes, you saw the main event, right? Or
yeah.
Did you see the? Yeah. How was the Kingdom's main event match with the Acclaimed, mate?
I really liked it. I thought they actually worked well together. Bill Gunn was crazy fit. He had a hat on that said "I heart butts."
My God.
Yeah. Top Flight chased Maria Kanellis away.
My God, lots going on here. Dukes.
Yeah, lots of a little bit of Ring of Honor storytelling for you in the Rampage main event, which is interesting.
JR was also very upset that Maria left.
True. Fair.
No, I can't believe.
For true.
Yeah, I did appreciate, we mentioned the Guns top flight match. I did appreciate the way they handled the Kingdom interference, where they just kind of went, "The Kingdom!" and just yelled it a couple of times and expected everyone in the audience to know exactly what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a thing they should do regularly is have feuds continue on Dynamite that are actually airing on Ring of Honor Club without any kind of signal or sign that's going to happen. Definitely a Tony Khan maneuver there. I'm glad to see the Kingdom getting, used on national TV. I think a lot of them, but man, has their TV introduction been brutal, right? They came out to close a Rampage where they wanted to win the Ring of Honor tag titles from the FTR.
Yes.
This then led to Matt Taven doing a job for Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were gone for a while. Then they did Battle Royals, and now they're doing this. And it's like, if you just watch AEW TV, I don't think you have any clue what they are, who they are, and like what's going on.
Mike Bennett lost to Darby.
Yeah, he did. That was a good one.
Right,
That's fair.
That was good.
I should have remembered that. That was a really good showing for Mike Bennett. But like it feels like they only show up when Tony has a spare spot on Rampage. And I don't mean that as a slight on them, because I think they're a really good team. But it's just, I don't know. Like, I think if they're going to be a Ring of Honor team, that's fine. But if you want to use them in these kind of spots on occasion, you may need to like give them a more formal introduction and let people know what's going on with this act. But nonetheless, I'm glad the match was good. Chris, did you enjoy it also?
Yeah, I liked it. And like to reiterate kind of what you were saying, I also think that, and especially if like from what it looks like to me at least, this is kind of their way of trying to get their like national TV audience to kind of be aware of what's going on in Ring of Honor and maybe get their interest to get on Honor Club and watch. And if that's the case, you really need to do a better job of explaining why they should and like what's going on to drive those people over.
Yeah, it's, again, we're not here saying they need to do like earlier tonight recaps, but there's a certain level that I think you can pass with the Matt TV Thunder God. But nonetheless, next week, okay, before we do next week, Jake Hager and Brody King. Good or bad? What's the read? Oh, some serious nodding of the head going on from this. Dukes and Chris's heads are doing very different things. In response to that question.
Hager
two big dudes.
Chris, you seem unenthused by this. You seem unmoved by this excitement.
Chris's favorite wrestler got involved.
Well, hold on. And the ironic part is that was the part I liked the most. was Anna Jay showing up and throwing Julia Hart into
that was very funny.
I thought it was very funny. I mean, Brody King's awesome. Like, there's not, I can't say like too many negative things about it. It was just like, I don't know. Jake Hager for me isn't really.
It was a fine match.
It was okay. I
saw this Anna Jay spot and I texted Matt and was like, wait, that was her return to TV, right? And we concluded it was, and that makes it even funnier that the call of it was Anna Jay. They just kind of watched on and, beautiful. I think Excalibur forgot it was her return to TV, like legitimately.
To be fair, I also forgot.
Yes, absolutely fair. I don't think anyone realized it but myself, honestly. But nonetheless.
If that's a singles match we're getting on national television, fucking buckle up, folks.
You can only pray.
We're back.
You can only hope for the best. Next week, Kenny Omega versus Jeff Cobb. What are we thinking vibrator-wise? Where's this going to come in, boys? What do we think? This is going to be a big one, I think.
I'm feeling confident.
My God, impeccable.
It's going to be hard for it not to be, man.
I think so, too, mostly because it's a Kenny Omega singles match.
Yeah, and Jeff Cobb is big.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Cobb is a very vibes wrestler.
That's true.
And hit that Snapdragon, and we're going to be off to the races.
Wow, this is interesting. So Cobb is on the list of Vibe wrestlers.
Yeah, he's a big dude that hits people hard.
Yeah. That's really our criteria.
And there's the surfboard thing.
That was the one I was thinking would probably be it. Yeah, that's fair enough.
The tour of the islands is crazy.
Now he's really fun. I will say that the last couple of years of New Japan, I've not loved some of his singles matches, but he's wrestling Kenny Omega. It's like he's not going to have a bad match for Kenny Omega, man. There's no way that's happening. Colin Garcia, we talked about. Ruby versus Willow. Man, we need this to be like, this needs to have some feel to it. This can't just be like a match that comes on and they get 6-7 minutes and it's exactly the same as all the other. This one should have some real punch because these two, we saw them bleed buckets in the damn street fight a couple months back. And I really hope the audience is into this. If they're not, I will understand why, because it feels a little bit undercooked. But I am excited to see what they do. Tope, you fired up to see Willow versus Ruby?
I'll place a solid wager that Willow is going to hit a pounce, and then the ref is going to get distracted, and for 5 seconds, and then Tope is going to be sad, and then after the match, 2 AEW women are going to go to the ring.
Tope is going to be sad.
I love Willow. Day one
Yeah,
fan.
I get it. I just, yes.
Will the world's champion Jamie Hayter be on the television show next week?
Well, there was some visa issues, right? Did you hear that?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, there was some visa. Okay. Like genuinely, yeah, that was the reason she wasn't on.
Tony Khan, you're forgiven for now.
There was a very funny tweet. I think it was Manny's where it was like AEW dealing with visa issues, and it was like just confusion, like I can't remember what gif he used, but it popped me. So yeah, that hopefully they just do something exciting, whatever it is. I don't care about the result. Just give me something different. Dalton Castle and the boys are opposite Blackpool Combat Club.
Oh yeah.
Chris, go ahead.
I'm banging this drum. Tony, I know you're watching. Fucking Dalton needs to bleed buckets, okay? I need buckets. I need to. We need it. We need it. This is how we further this, okay? We need to see it. Somebody that's been presented like him, bleeding, and then making it like a serious thing would be fucking electric.
Yeah, it feels like they're going to get the shit kicked out of him here, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Wheeler Yuta is going to destroy one of the boys. I can't wait.
So and I love audio. I love that act. But then, but BCC just like not even letting them get their bits off and just fucking killing them is the way to go. It is so the way to go.
I don't
remember the early BCC tags with Mox, Brian, and Yuta when they kicked the shit out of the Varsity Blondes.
I do. Yeah.
I want that.
I think it's it's worth noting. We all like the act. It's just time and a place feels like they're gonna get killed here, right? So, what was you gonna say, mate?
I just want Claudio to long dart one of the boys.
Oh, he will.
Oh, I feel like we're getting that.
Yeah, this feels like a lock. Yeah. Orange Cassidy versus the Butcher.
Real graphs.
Pop. Pop. That's what you really offer on that one. Probably won't. This card's pretty loaded, so it probably won't go too long. But Orange Reign being so long is fascinating to me. Like I never would have guessed it. Would you?
No.
He's had the belt for like.
He has the shirt.
5 months.
He's had it since like October. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has the shirt.
True. Matt Hardy versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
This is what Hook's doing next. They're bringing back Jungle Hook.
Do you think?
Yeah, because Hook is wrestling Ethan Page next, isn't he?
But Jack's going to be in the big 4 pillars, or pillows, as Jim Ross calls them.
Oh. Maybe Hook will
you forgot about the 4 pillars. How could you forget about the 4 pillars?
How could I? The T-shirt. Oh, I'm sorry.
They've been telling you about it for years now. Okay.
Never mind.
Matt Hardy getting a match on TV. Where are we at on that?
Real graphs.
Well, now I want Hook to show up.
Yeah, well, don't blame Tony. Blame Dukes. Okay.
Or you can blame
finish
Tony.
This. Next week, we probably will not have a Fleet Week next week. Unless we go... Next week's going to be crazy. I don't know if we can do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, it's WrestleMania, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if we can do something. I don't know. Maybe we'll let it play out. We'll leave it at that. But there will not be a Ring of Honor preview, so it would make sense considering how kind of a line they are to do a little quick rundown here of Supercard. What match are you most looking forward to on Supercard of Honor? Dukes, I'll start with you.
Probably King and Claudio. Actually, no. Athena and Yuka.
Athena and Yuka, my God, there you go. So this one does feel like a real candidate to steal the show. Obviously, it's a little bit reliant on if the crowd is super engaged, placements, so on and so forth. But man, Athena is rocking right now. And Yuka, I know her match last week got a lot of love. And obviously has always been great whenever she's come over to the States for AEW. And this, I'm sure, will be no different. This does feel like a big one for sure. Athena's taking it though, right? It feels like result-wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tope, what about you? What match are you most looking forward to, mate?
Main event. It has to be King Claudio. For me, the Chikara feud is like one of those like mythical feuds that like you hear about from other wrestling fans. So I have never gone back. Like I may have seen a promo from them that time. I haven't seen any of that stuff, and I'm very excited to kind of witness it now through Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a time. There was a really strong segment on Thursday, which I actually watched with some of the guys on Discord. I know Dukes was in there for that, and we were popping huge. question is, does Eddie leave with this belt? What do we reckon, fellas? Where do we stand on that? There's been a lot of debate about that. And it's you can make either case, you can make a real argument. You could argue that it helps Claudio to get rid of that belt so he can kind of be an AEW guy. And Eddie's going to be a Ring of Honor guy, so why not? But you could also argue, in a weird way, it's too soon in this promotion. Like he feels like there should be more of a story leading up. Gut feeling, Chris, is Eddie leaving with the Ring of Honor title? What do you think?
I'm in that same boat of that second thing that you said, where it kind of feels like it's too soon in this like sphere. Like it feels like it would be too easy, right? But I do think that I think that that's the direction that they would kind of go in. Is giving him the belt because Claudio over the summer being a main part of the BCC thing, and not that like he isn't, but just to give the Ring of Honor belt shine to someone else. I think would really benefit it. That, and then I also think the Lucha Bros in a ladder match are going to kind of steal the show a little bit.
Yes, I do want us to look at that lineup because that is an insane squad right there. Tope, who are you picking in the main event, mate? It's your most anticipated match. Who you got?
Claudio, 100%.
Okay. In a nefarious fashion that will lead to a rematch, or just clean as a sheet?
Give me a percentage chance that TK does like a dusty finish here.
I mean, I know if the percentage can be super high for the main event, but I do think it would be pretty fucking awesome in the most sick, perverted way possible, I mean, that would be a pretty sicko move. I respect sicko moves in my professional wrestling. My God, you imagine how mad that crowd would be?
Yes.
Yeah. I would enjoy that.
That'd be something. Interesting. Dukes, who do you think's winning?
I want Eddie to win because I want the Claudio singles matches on Dynamite more than I want the Ring of Honor story, if I'm being honest. Not by much, but I do think Claudio's going to win.
Okay. The aforementioned Reach for the Sky ladder match for the tag titles: Lucha Bros, Top Flight, The Kingdom, Aussie Open, and Rush and Trilistico. My God, this thing is going to be an insane stunt show. Which team leads with the gold? Tope, what are you in?
Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Yes, sir.
You got a shot, and they are your favorite team ever. Yep, and their favorite team in the history of the world. So
true.
Tope actually messaged me the other day. He said, I'm changing it. They're not my favorite wrestling tag team. They're my favorite sports team of all time. Which I thought was a little excessive, but nonetheless, we respect his opinion around here. Chris, who do you think's leaving with the tag gold?
I would like for it to be Aussie Open. I do think there's a shot that it's the Kingdom, and then they kind of build to like a Top Flight tag champs coronation at some point. But yeah, I'm with Tope, and I really love Aussie Open. I hope they win, but I do think that that's kind of the realistic route.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Top Flight personally. Dukes, what about you?
I think the Kingdom are gonna win.
I ain't got a problem.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
No, it isn't the most exciting thing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a slight on them, but it's even more the fact that they've been part of the furniture there, because in a lot of ways they're a very natural successor to what the Briscoes beat them for the gold, in 2021, and they had many matches through the years. But it's just, I don't know. I do think you should try to leave this show with an outlook and a landscape that makes people say, I really need to get on a club. And while I have a lot of time for the Kingdom, I don't know if that is what that would, that's the fault people would have seeing them win the belt. Katsuyori Shibata is on this show, so which feels worth noting. There's some Wheeler Yuta, which is a big one.
God.
Vikingo, Commander, Samoa Joe, Mark Briscoe, and the Trios title too. So there is a lot of real graps waiting for us on Supercard of Honor, which in some form or fashion, we'll get the guys to give their take on that at some point. Maybe we'll do a Fleet Week early, the week after Mania or something. We'll try and figure it out. There's a million shows in between now and then, but you will see them again this Wednesday, right? Are we all in Wednesday, or is some of you not able to make it? I'm not sure what the deal is. Is everyone there?
I'm not.
Is that game night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the availability looking at? Tope, you're not sure yet?
Yeah, I'll let you know when I know.
Okay, all good. But the Young Lions will be represented in some form or fashion on Wednesday. Grin game night, Family Feud style coming up after Dynamite. So watch Dynamite and then come hang with us and watch us get questions wrong about professional wrestling. After this, in half an hour, we have Fed Dead Redemption, the WrestleMania preview show. So stick with us on this front. But first, let's give the lads a chance to plug stuff and put themselves over. Dukes, anything to promote? Any final words on what is your birthday, your 10th birthday?
I appreciate all the love from everybody. Thank you.
Is that it? You're not going to do any
yeah.
sort of grandstanding victory lap? Or that's very humble. That's kind of lame, right? That's a shame. Tope, what about you, mate? Any final words? Any burials you'd like to dish out here before we go?
No, just happy birthday to the humble king.
The humble king. Dukes, young Dukes, the humble king. There you go. Chris, what about you, mate?
They call me.
Yeah, just keep supporting Fleet Week. Be on the lookout for Blood In, Blood Out, the match heard around the world, Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon by Manny the Hooper on WrestlePierce.com.
True.
Whenever that arrives. And join us for game night.
Indeed. I really hope Monty doesn't at me when he tweets that article out. I don't want to be linked in that, I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. I mean, I'm not sure it's going to get posted. It probably will end up on the Late Night Grin, but God forbid. He was standing up. It was very scary seeing him in that kind of mode. Very, very dangerous situation. But nonetheless, folks, as I said, just under half an hour now, myself, Oracle, and Bobby are going to talk WrestleMania, run down the match card. There's like 13 matches, I think, something like that. So we're going to be there for a while. But I'm sure we'll have a good time nonetheless. Beyond that, Tuesday, deciding the decade WrestleMania. Wednesday, the aforementioned Grin game night. And then Friday, the Late Night Grin goes old school, back in our old post-Rampage time slot. So lots going on. It's WrestleMania week. And we appreciate everyone who joined us for Fleet Week. One last big happy birthday to Young Dukes. It's been great having him on board here. And here's to many more birthdays on Fleet Week. Right, lads? Here's to it. All right, on that note, keep grinning, all hail, and enjoy this outro.